impact on the ground as far as I'm concerned, because the old timers they knew where to put the roads. And as long as you use them, what I've found, you don't go too far wrong. Once the roads are in, they're there forever, as far as I'm concerned. The next person that goes in there to log or selectively log on the same piece of ground can use those same roads over and over again. And like I say, once they're there, they're there. You can carry on for as long as that stand is there. And I think that's as far as I can go.
My name is Donna Sugar. I live in Roberts Creek. I just want to preface my question with the comment that one of the major philosophical bases of the CCR proposal is that all resources of the forest have equal value, and that timber extraction or logging is not of a higher value than wildlife habitat and so forth. And I'd like to direct my question to Sandy. You compared good clear-cut practice with bad selective logging practice. I wonder if you would compare good clear-cut practice with good selective logging practice as you see it in terms of protection of all forest resources at the same time.
Well, good selective logging, I'd say, has a place, near stream sides. If there's other values that have to be protected that seem to be have more priority. There's one thought that came to my mind, in a community that lives as close to the forest as this one does. It's not like Port Hardy or whatever. We're close to the major city in the province. What came to my mind because of the aesthetics of the whole thing is that we could possibly, have some kind of a interface on the private land as you moved in towards the Crown Forest. And I guess, I'm getting a little bit off the track, but there was a gentleman here at the first meeting who got up and said he had silt in his water. And I made 2 phone calls and found out, because I took that pretty personally, that the logging industry was buggering up the guy's water supply. And we found out that there's somebody logging some private land up above them and skidding logs on a selective logging site through the creek. I don't think that fellow's here tonight, but I would say to him, if he's had to put money out of his pocket or time or energy to maintain his water line, then I would find out where those logs are going and follow them down to the dump and get the guy's name and give him a bill. And if he doesn't pay the bill, take him to small debts or go down to wherever he's selling the logs and be reimbursed, because we don't believe in those kind of practices. And I know I'm getting a little bit off the point, but I wanted to make that. Good selective logging, in my mind, would be used on site-specific places. As far as I'm concerned, if we're managing a working forest, we've got to use the system that makes the forest work best. Now, what Barry does on private land and what goes on in a forest are they're not exactly the same situation, and there are good sites as I wouldn't knock a good selective job, but possibly the land wouldn't be producing the maximum value and the maximum type of wood on that certain site. I'm sorry if I'm having trouble with your question, but that's about as close I can get to it now.
If there's anybody else who can respond,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Mark.
My name is Mark Boland. Incidentally, I'd rather be falling endangered trees than be up here right now. Anyway, I was born I was born in the prairie in southern Saskatchewan, and in the early 30s, we found out that we could get trees from Indian Head, Saskatchewan, and it was apparently the first forest station, the first forestry station in Canada for reforestation anyway. And incidentally, H.R. Macmillan had his first job there in the mid-30s after he came out of university in Ontario. So we planted these trees, and they did really help us through the drought and the depression, because the winter snows would gather, and we were short of a garden. But here a couple of weeks ago, we're talking about the forests in Canada generally, not just British Columbia. The Adam Zimmerman, the head of Noranda, he indicated that Canada's forests had no national purpose. There were too many giveaways. He cited lack of leadership. He said people don't expect enough of their leaders, and that's the text of what he said. But even for my part,